test, 1, 2. Test, 1, 2, 1, 2, test. Adam, Apple, test. 1, 2, 1, 2. I can't hear it. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Ben, did you know that? That the pool committee is coming on first? No, second. Oh, it's second? I thought you said first. Oh, I want to be here for that. We are. Not missing it. I'm sleepy.
Oh, there it goes.
Been up all a long day.
Can I put this right
Yep.
here?
I hope the spiders don't bite me. Gross. What else is on the
Oh, you need it right here, babe.
Ben, why are you calling me? Why are you calling me?
Sounds great.
That's what I call a butt dial, literally.
Test.
The only thing is this version doesn't have the fun balance part.
Test. Check, mic check, 1, 2. Check, mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome.
Testing. 1, 2. You know, has there ever been any discussion about like the lapel? There may be for the laptop. Yeah.
Test.
Testing. So if we want to just see the slideshow, good, I like that.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, I like that. And the key
Okay.
thing is the down, right?
Yeah, look, and then it'll
And that'll tell you what they're not supposed to do.
one, two. Test, test, test. One, two, one, two. One, two, one, two.
Okay, we have two items on the open committee of the whole. The first is the 2024 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. Mr. Daish and Ms. Martin. Oh, wait, let the clerk get set first, please. I didn't see you weren't here.
Hello, everybody. First, does everybody have the handout materials and the annual report that's placed on your desk? Thank you all for coming by. Tonight we are going to be presenting the 2024 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. Just to provide an overview of the presentation, first we will go through the highlights of the report, specifically the general and utility fund summary analysis. Then our auditor, who's joined us, John Wasaki, will go over the required auditor communication. And then finally, we'll provide the status of our 2024 single audit. But first, if you flip the page, we will present the summary of our general fund. Again, this summary can be found on pages 33 through 39 of the report. And in this summary, we are listing the audited results for 2021 through 2024. Also listed in the column is the budget and the comparison with the 2024 budget and the variance that exists. And then for comparative purposes, we have listed the 2025 budgeted projections that we finalized and passed at year end last year in December. But first, if you look in the middle for audited 2024, last year's results were a deficit of $2.2 million. In comparison with the prior audit years of 2021 through 2023, where the general fund has experienced significant surpluses. Now, the big drivers of the deficit primarily has been the revenue decrease versus the prior year and budgeted expectations. State taxes were similar to 2023 levels. When we say state taxes, that's state income tax, home rule tax, and state sales tax. Also fee revenues, they were all similar to 2023. However, our other local taxes, forgive me. Yes, forgive me, yes. Yes. Thanks for pointing that out. But our other taxes, including municipal utility taxes, were actually down 22% lower than the 2024 revenue budget. This is on the summary page that's right after the, yeah. Yep.
The highlight page 2 and then first page and then page 2.
Yep. Our fines were also 4% lower than the 2024 revenue budget. Meanwhile, our 2024 expenditures were right at budgeted levels. In short, this table illustrates the city's need to reduce expenditures to become in line with the 2024 audited revenue levels. If you flip the page, we don't have it in the presentation, but it gives an illustration of our fund balance and an additional explanation on the following page where we did encounter a deficit in 2024. Our fund balance remains in a strong position at $19 million. The city's fund balance policy is at 16%. 16% of the following year's budgeted expenditures, and that requirement is $11.6 million. So that our existing fund balance is at a strong level compared to what the policy dictates, and obviously that's very important to serve as a cushion for or security against any future unanticipated expenditures and also any adverse revenue downturns as we experienced in 2024. Now, it's the city's position that the revenue expectations need to be adjusted, where we are projecting no growth in revenues for 2025 and 2026. Meanwhile, we are emphasizing the need to manage our expenditures responsibly, keeping our costs in line with the audited 2024 revenues. So that, in essence, highlights the general fund. Now, meanwhile, flipping the page over, just a summary of the utility fund, which that is found on pages 37 through 39.
33,
I'm sorry.
33 through 39.
Yeah. And the operating income is at strong levels at $3.4 million in 2024, which happens to be similar to the operating income in 2023, which means this is the income added to depreciation, which is a non-cash item. But those strong levels of operating income are very important because it provides more funding available for our current and future debt service or bond and interest payments on past bonds issued for infrastructure. It also allows the funding needed for further improvement of the city's capital infrastructure, specifically water main replacements. So our utility fund posted strong results in 2024. With that being said, I'd like to turn things over with those summaries to the required auditor communication from John Wasaki.
Just one, you neglected to say why the revenues were down over $2 million.
Oh,
What revenue did we lose that resulted in it being down $2 million?
thank you for asking that, Mayor. Forgive me for not pointing that out. There's, one very important thing to point out is that our red light camera revenues, the cam.
In May of 2024, we lost the red light on Conway and Sunlight. And so we've been waiting for them to put everything back in to get the cameras back. Also our local and state taxes and everything. So we are anticipating the cameras coming back, we just don't know. So that's why we're trying to keep our expenditures at a conservative level.
Right. And unfortunately, the state classified the fact that all of Cermak Road had to be completed, even outside the city road limits.
Yep. So yes, that in essence, contributed to the revenue being lower, significantly lower than than our budgeted projections, along with the local taxes also experiencing a downturn, including the municipal utility tax. So
we could potentially not get that back until 2027?
Well, based on what and Attorney Bertuca has been contacting the company to keep tabs on it for us. Once we see the regular lights go up at Cermak and Harlem, that's when we'll be able to get it back. It looks like all up and down Cermak, the construction is pretty much done, other than a punch list maybe, because North Riverside was ripped up, going further west to 25th Street. Pretty much it looks like it's done, but I just don't know when. I'm thinking possibly 25, but we can't say that for certain, so they want to be very conservative and figure out a 25 budget.
We're also trying to get Ogden's cameras back up as well. Which Tony has been working on Ogden, trying to get those cameras up. And then also, I don't know, we've been really trying to the fees and different departments back on track too, which will help build our revenue.
Were there any areas, so I understand from the revenue standpoint, from an expenditure standpoint, keeping that, keeping that conservative, were there any areas over budget from an expenditure standpoint that we should,
Where we had a surplus,
No,
no,
Where-
opposite?
or the opposite, where the expenditures were more than
Budgeted for.
revenues, just the previous years. If you look at the sheet in here, you can see that from 21 through the other years, there was a surplus, and where our expenditures were lower. But if you come to 24, you see that the expenditures exceeded the revenue due to the loss of the cameras in May of 2024.
So your question is, were our expenditures exceeding what we budgeted?
Yes.
For specific line items, so in
What we
particular,
budgeted
Well,
revenue.
organizations, right, in different
Well,
areas,
just
yeah.
not specific line items, it's the city in total. You know, we can't pinpoint different departments or specific line items, it's the city in total where different departments just exceeded the expenditures, you know.
Sure, do we know which departments those were, though?
I appreciate the question, Alderman, Alderman Bowman. You know, the thing to consider is that, of course, we have health insurance cost. You know, we're somewhere between 10 and 15%, it's higher than what we expected in '24. Also, our general liability and claims expenditures and premiums were indeed higher than we initially thought. I think those are the two main areas.
Okay.
All things else, you know, we have contractual increases that we did anticipate. That's why I was explaining that overall, the expenditures were on target. Certainly, the premiums and the claims from our general liability workers' comp claims were higher than anticipated.
Thank you.
Question for you, real quick. So you noted that you don't project growth in revenues for 25 and 26 from 24. So you're saying revenues will stay. You're anticipating they stay around that 69,413, or sorry, 69,413,778 range.
We're actually targeting more of the audit results.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
I'm just curious if, so the 25 budget, did that anticipate the loss of the red light camera revenue? And I'm just wondering if we should expect another deficit for this year, or if there's going to be any changes to spending in order to, you know, anticipate the fact that we're not going to be receiving that revenue from red light cameras.
Well,
It didn't take into account a whole year. So I think when they looked over the budget for '25, they anticipated sometime in the middle of the year we might have them back up. So I think I only put like 6 months in, if I remember correctly.
We were thinking that in the third quarter, that we would, the cameras and different things, we would have gotten the revenue, but we didn't. So with that being said, we just gonna make sure that when we budget for 2026, we keep in mind that our revenues will stay the same and try to budget our expenditures even conservatively based on our 2024 revenues.
Gotcha. So does that mean, just to make sure that I'm clear, we could see kind of a $1 million deficit from not having that amount unless revenues are higher in other areas in the city, like in fees or in other areas?
Right, so that's what I was saying about the fees and different things that we are working on to generate more revenues via different departments and the fees.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now I'd like to present John Wasaki, who will go over the required auditor communication. John?
Whenever I do a presentation, people always ask me ahead of time to make sure I'm brief. I'm not sure why, but that's what I will try to be. Want to just point out in the annual comprehensive financial report on page 9 is our independent auditor's report. And in that, we kind of explain that management is responsible for the preparation of the financial statements, even though we assist in preparing them. And our responsibility is to test the information for accuracy and completeness, and we did that and expressed our opinion that the information is properly presented in accordance with the proper accounting principles. We also are required at the end of the audit to communicate with City Council certain items, which we have in this letter over here. We have to talk about any new accounting pronouncements or principles. There was nothing that significantly affected the financial statements. We talk about significant estimates. We also are required to say if there's any difficulties encountered in performing the audit, and there were none, unfortunately. We also include our audit adjustments that we proposed, and any waived adjustments, which are immaterial items that didn't need to be recorded, but we point them out anyway. And then disagreements with management, there were none. So it's basically good news as far as that goes. And one report that is still yet to come is our single audit report. And what that is a report on compliance with the federal programs. We looked at two major programs, the American Rescue Plan Act and the federal funding regarding the depot streetscape. That's still in draft form, but we do not have any federal compliance findings to report on that, so that's good as well. Let's see. Are there any questions from you? Yeah.
We're just waiting on the single audit.
Yeah, and that within a day or two that we'll have that filed.
Yeah, we probably finalize with the last couple weeks, because there's a clearinghouse aspect to it as far as, and the data that we have to file online.
Yeah, for the state.
Any questions for auditor? Okay, thanks, John.
Thank you.
You guys have anything else, Ben? Monica?
Any questions from Dan or myself?
I was just gonna congratulate you on a clean audit and successful.
Thank
Now,
you. Thank you.
as you review the documentation that's been handed out, if you do have questions, please direct them to the finance department. Call Monica or Ben, and they can run through it with you, okay?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yep, thanks, Mike.
The other item that we have on the open agenda tonight is the swimming pool complete discussion led by Joseph Fitzgerald. Joseph?
Just need a second here. Aaron. All right. Good evening. How is everybody today? So I have the honor of bringing this presentation today. The mayor had an idea in his head, and he asked me to help pull it out of his head, describe it, contextualize it, and frame it out for the group here today. So that's what we're going to do. This is more of a conversation. Can we get IT here? This thing's not popping up. It's showing up on my screen.
If anybody's here from IT.
Oh wait, there it is.
We got it.
I had a little anxiety there for a second. So this is more of a conversation of what's going on. It's informational in nature. So a lot of it's going to revolve around, what's the purpose of this committee, structures, participants, responsibilities, kind of a roadmap leading into it. So to start this off, as you know, our public pool has served this community for decades, but the facility is showing an age. In the past, projects of this size have often been discussed internally during sessions, which allowed for quick dialogue but sometimes without deeper review and broader input. This time, the mayor wants to approach this issue differently by being deliberate, transparent, and inclusive from the very beginning. There's been past practices and now there's future intentions. Previously, like I said, discussions have been made in a more generalized fashion where we're trying to push it more into deliberate conversation. And what he wants to do is he wants to move away from what we've been used to. So the mayor's proposing to form a temporary committee to provide a more structured process for information gathering, stakeholder input, clear communication back to this full city council. To be very clear, the purpose of this committee will be to ensure professionalism and accountability while building trust through transparency in the process. And a key element of this is making sure that we are creating a fact-based, community-informed approach. And there's 3 elements that need to be brought to the table. One, like we said, is fact-based. We want the committee to be able to come back to the council and to the citizens with accurate data, facts, rooted in facts, so they can make an informed decision and address the needs and the opportunities. Because working together with the community and using proven processes, members of this committee can make real change that matters to everyone. The goal here isn't to make rushed decisions, to be very clear on that. It's to set up a process that earns community trust, ensures fiscal responsibility, and ultimately leaves council with the best information possible. So let's move the conversation on to what the purpose is. The purpose of the committee that the mayor is proposing is temporary and advisory in nature. It's not designed to take decision-making away from this council, but to strengthen it more thorough groundwork. Not going to go over all this stuff, but these are the key main facts coming through this. Being able to plan and schedule sessions, engaging in diverse community voices throughout the city, documenting key feedback and themes back to the decision makers, and sharing findings with the stakeholders. So what we can summarize it in is current and community-driven process is essential for shaping Berwyn's pool facility. By fostering collaboration, fiscal responsibility will help build trust with the public and ensure the project aligns with long-term community needs. By doing this, this ensures that by the time the matter comes back to this council for a vote, it's informed by community input, financial context, and expert review that's all driven through the lenses of those on the committee. In terms of the structure and process, one of the key themes that the mayor wanted was that representation on the committee is designed to be balanced and inclusive of all the voices that matter most here. And if you boil that number down, it comes down to 12. How that 12 came to be is a good mix of this would be 3 persons representing their own residents from here, representatives from both park districts, the township, and the recreation department, because they are key stakeholders in this initiative. Most importantly, 3 to 4 community stakeholders, and then rounding out that dozen number is including the city treasurer into this process. We do want to point out that one member of the committee will be the chairperson, and this is a really important point of what that chairperson's coordination role is going to be. The chairperson will be the main point of contact. They will help facilitate communication, in charge of coordinating meetings, and working in conjunction with the committee, recruiting community stakeholders, identifying and recruiting community stakeholders, summarizing and presenting what they're learning from the community, what they're learning from experts, what their stakeholders, back to the city council, and making sure that the goal of transparency and accountability is held throughout this whole process. This is a Berwyn project, and there needs to be voices and representations throughout the whole city. We talked about our representation and our community members in the north. It's the same as the south, so I'll just read this out on here verbatim just to be very clear of what's happening. is that a council member will play a crucial role in representing the interests of residents in the northern and respectively the southern parts of the city, and opening up communication with the park districts in that area. They will work closely with community members to address local concerns, ensuring that unique needs of this area are considered in city-wide decisions. It's the same for the south, but we did identify that there's a central area of town that's that's rooted where the actual pool is right now. And it's aside from doing all the other stuff from the north and the south sides and talking with the park districts and engaging the community, the discussion will make sure that a localized perspective is brought to the table to ensure that the redevelopment plans, if it does happen, aligns with the community's expectations and historical context within that area. As we spoke about before, the city treasurer will be there for financial oversight and feasibility to help add to the discussion with analysis and oversight. And the other stakeholders involved in here will be representatives from both park districts, the north and the south, a representative from the township, and a representative from the recreation department.
I'm grateful that we have the stakeholders. Are they also going to be contributing to the funding of this? Is that why they're stakeholders?
That's part of what the committee would have to determine when we discuss it with those various entities.
Okay, I just wasn't wondering. Thank you very much.
That will be in there in a few slides. So
Okay,
give us
my
a-
apologies for jumping the gun.
One of, if not the most important element of this committee is representation by the community out there. So 3 to 4 community stakeholders chosen through recruitment efforts by the committee will help reflect local expertise and geographical diversity through this process. We need to involve the community in here to make sure it's their pool, right? It's their money. We're just helping them get to that point and opening up the discussion to make it happen. So just moving on to the responsibilities. I think this is best put at a 50,000-foot view of what's happening on here, is that from a 50,000-foot view, the responsibilities of the committee are planning updates for the old pool, gathering ideas from the community, holding meetings to hear needs, creating plans to hire experts, reviewing designs and recommendation options, and updating city council and the public. So their job is to gather information. If we're looking at this from a conclusive point, their job is to gather information, test the options that are out there, and bring back well thought out recommendations for the council to potentially act on when that time comes. But there is also a process brought into this so that there's guidelines and some type of roadmap that we have. Clear steps and community input will drive the success of this initiative to ensure transparency. I think we'll answer some of the questions that were just brought up here with some overview of key phases in here. First off, we have to form the committee, right? It's being brought to you for informational purposes and looking for buy-in from not only members of the council, but from the other entities, from governmental agencies, and most importantly, find that recruitment process for the community. Again, it's ad hoc. We want to make sure that there's balanced representation and keeping a collaborative and inclusive approach around the whole area with the chairperson leading the cause. One of the first goals of this, once this is created, is dialogue with districts and townships. During this engagement phase, being able to identify priorities, interests, and as well as potential fiscal collaboration opportunities will exist. That discussion, those are hard discussions. That can't be done in sessions. It's a more longitude thing in nature where we're trying to make things happen. Good data and make a decision on a project of financial scale and magnitude that represents the whole community. the other part of this, aside from having community members on the committee, the city has to go out and host community listening sessions, which will be led by the committee. So the inputs, needs, concerns, aspirations, will all taking that feedback to provide some type of recommendation to make sure that this project aligns not only with the city's goals, but with what they're paying for. One of the elements, if it does get to this point of moving the project forward, is drafting and finalizing an RFP. This has traditionally been done a lot by city staff, but on here, it's including the committee as well. Look for RFPs for feasibility and design services, requirements, and us to review and give a final recommendation of what best practices along the way. Once that's done and pushed out, and there is a review of the short list of proposals, it's going to be led in conjunction with staff at city staff, along with the chairperson and the committee, to help shortlist these candidates and present any type of actionable recommendations to the council for review on here, and looking for potential council action and approval. There's two ways this can happen. Everything can go fine and we'll be moving forward with a pool. You may come up to that decision. Or we may go through this and say this isn't something that the community wants or we can afford, whichever way. Once one of those areas are determined, the committee is dissolved, and we just on it. We've done our due diligence, we've worked and come with the best recommendation and action at that point for what we know. So just to be very clear, this is a temporary committee that will dissolve after presenting recommendations and, if applicable, selecting a design firm or moving the project forward. So in summarization, there's some key takeaways on here. The goal of this, there's four of them, right? The goal of this is to make sure that we provide transparency, accountability, and involve community input along the way. It should be very noted that the committee is advisory in nature, while the city council still retains final decision-making authority on here. They're just being fed the proper information. We want to be able to ensure fiscal responsibility, because it's central to the committee's mission, ensuring taxpayer dollars are used wisely and most appropriately. And finally, the key step is, this is just a responsible step forward. City Council should be focused on making decisions about the pool project that reflect the community's needs, help form the committee that the message can be clarified, and council members can work openly and together to shape the future. So in closing, this is about making sure that any investment in our pool infrastructure is grounded in facts, guided by community voices, and aligned with our long-term goals. And the mayor's asking for your support in establishing this committee so that the council can begin moving this forward.
So we have no expectation that this is going to happen within the next year. We know that this is going to take some time, especially with the path that we're proceeding on. It's going to take some time. We're asking to make it judicious and getting started as soon as possible so that we can follow through with what Joseph's lined out as our steps. Between me, Martinucci, and our building department, we'll keep the pool going the way it is, but it has become very difficult, and we're spending a lot of money keeping that pool open. But this is the only pool in Berwyn, and we need to keep it running. So we're going to rely on that committee to really push the envelope, but we don't expect that it's going to all happen within a 6-month time or a year's time. We do know that. The fiscal responsibility is going to be the hardest part that we're going to address at some point. So we do have to look at that, but we need to get all this other information in our hands and in the city council so we can understand what we're looking at and where we're going, okay? I will be appointing that committee probably at next meeting. I do have picked out 3 individual aldermen as well as the treasurer that I'm going to ask to head up these certain areas if Joseph lined out. But I would ask that committee, when you start looking at the community residents, look at the people that utilize the facilities. Look at the people that been going to the pool, that they know what's missing at the pool, that they know what we need at the pool. Look at the people that don't want to go to the pool for what reason. Let's try and mix that in those committees with those residents. When you have your listening sessions, we need to make sure those are advertised to get as many voices as possible to tell us, do you use the pool? Why? What's wrong with it? Tell us. You're there. You don't use the pool. Why? What's wrong? Tell us. So as much as we can get this out, that's going to help us decide what we're doing in the future. All right, so next meeting, I'll be appointing the committee. I still have to talk to, I believe, one more alderman that I have in my mind, but let's make sure that we can move this forward. Joe, did you have anything you wanted to add? Tony, did you have anything you wanted to add? Well, let me ask you this. How old is the pool now? 62 years old. So. Right. And we just put a new liner in how many years ago? Right. And that was an expensive liner. I would expect you to go over the history because you'll be part of the committee, so I would expect you to review that with the committee. Okay? Any questions?
Question for me. I appreciate the participatory process and from a committee standpoint. We know the pool needs to be replaced, right?
Mm-hmm.
The question. We don't know how much it's going to cost. I think there's a lot of effort, a lot of community input before we ultimately decide or get that number. Is it going to be 30, 40, $50 million? I don't know.
Right.
Right. Wouldn't it be advantageous to understand what that number is before we start going through the detailed process?
I will tell you this, when we last spoke with companies that provide a pool, the pool alone, not including the piping that all has to be done, was about a $10 million process. Now, we have talked to Joe, who's a trustee in Riverside, about what they did in Riverside, and Joe's reaching out to some other people, information that he could give to the committee that they can explore, but we're thinking it's about a $10 million process.
Thank you.
I had a question on the slide, Joe. There was one that had several bullets. It might have been number 4 or 5, I'm not sure. And the top one said something about current pool. Is that part of the conversation as well, or is with?
Well, I think what Joe was referring
Oh,
to
This one.
Yeah.
is updating to the way the pool is laid out right now and updating whatever material, like the piping underneath and stuff that we have to do. I think that's what he means. Not updating the current pool, but updating the features of what we have there. Is that what you're referring
Yes.
to, Joe? Yeah.
Correct. Is that,
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify what
Yeah.
was the intent there.
okay.
We can do that, and that would be for the committee to tell us that they would like us to do a survey, and I will have communications then put out a survey. I want the committee to tell us what to do, and bring it to the council when they get some discovery on it. Yes, but that's what I had the committee out there for. Yeah.
I'd like to recommend that when you all, whoever's on this committee, when you all are looking for community members, that there is an opportunity maybe to put on an application or something for folks to opt in or share, raise their hand, right, in case there's folks in our community that we might not know, but that like want to be a part of this, that you all have the opportunity to learn about them and potentially can bring them in. Berwyn has a ton of amazing people living here with a bunch of gifts and skills and great backgrounds, and so it'd be great to cast a wide net.
Good idea. Anybody else? Okay, that's all I have for open committee of the whole. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Palachek by Caldwell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. See you back at 8.
Hey, how's it going? How are you? Last time,
says, "Yeah, they're south." I said, "All right." He could do that. It's in, this is Len Depot. They're both in Iowa, so they're both sure.
Yeah.
Deputy Clerk, can we call the council meeting to order, please?
Here?
Bowman? Here. Fate? Here. Pabon?
Here.
Palachuk?
Here.
Bruckman?
Here.
Carmichael? Here. 8 present, Mayor.
Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing? Pledge allegiance to the flag If we could please keep in our thoughts and prayers the assistant principal from Lincoln and her mother, who unfortunately passed away, as well as all the men and women we have on the street tonight. Thank you. If anybody wishes to address the open forum, please step forward to the podium. State your name and address, please.
Hi, my name's Daniel. I'm a First Ward resident. I wanted to start by thanking you, Mayor Lavero, for last session listening to the needs of our community and agreeing to suspend the safety traffic stops. That would have been an extreme burden on our residents' well-being. And I'd also like to thank our alders for continuing to keep the welcoming city ordinance a living document. Hoping that is still fresh in your minds. And I hope that we're ready to update it as needed to keep our residents safe. Along those lines, Alderman Caldwell has brought a resolution up for a vote this session. And for those unfamiliar, what this resolution calls for is for the federal government to prohibit immigration enforcement from concealing their identities, and it encourages and empowers the Berwyn police to request proper identification from immigration agents. The importance of doing this, I think, is obvious. However, I don't think it can be overstated. We need to know the identities of the men who would otherwise jump out at us gang style on the street. I've spoken before about the dangerous possibility of bad actors impersonating immigration enforcement and taking advantage of the fact that ICE operates anonymously, masked in unmarked cars, and often without providing any proof of their identity. And unfortunately, that danger is not just a possibility. It has happened. And the danger instead for us is that it might happen here. I'd like to bring your attention to 3 such cases around the U.S. One in Raleigh, North Carolina, where a man was arrested and charged for impersonating law enforcement in order to sexually assault a woman and threaten her with deportation if she refused. In Prince George's County, Maryland, a man falsely identified himself as ICE to a woman, flashed a fake badge, and threatened her with deportation unless she got into his car. When she did, he assaulted her. In New York City, a man impersonated an ICE enforcement agent before attempting to sexually assault a 51-year-old woman in broad daylight before stealing her phone and her purse. I hope that these stories impress the urgency and necessity of passing this resolution tonight, and I hope it impresses the urgency that these stories cannot become a pattern. On another topic related to immigration enforcement and the safety of residents, Berwyn continues to have a contract with Flock Safety, which operates automated license plate reader cameras. And Flock has been in the news recently for several instances of data breaches and of, through underhanded means, sharing license plate data with immigration enforcement in contravention of municipal or state law. So, tonight I hope you all vote yes to pass Alderman Caldwell's resolution, and I hope that in future meetings we will hear that Berwyn, like Oak Park, will terminate its contract with Flock Safety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tina. I live in Central Berwyn. I also wanted to thank you for the work so far that was done with the suspending the checkpoints and the KYR. And yeah, also just adding on that I think the ordinance around requiring the federal leaders to prohibit law enforcement from concealing their identities is a really great step, because again, you know, a lot of what's happening right now isn't, you know, as you said, there's maybe bad actors, but there's also actions that are currently being taken that are illegal. And, you know, if people are able to conceal their identities, then that's not something that can't be followed up on later. So just wanted to add my note there. Thank you.
Luz Chavez, 16th and Ridgeland. So this month, we've seen a huge increase in ICE activity across our state, particularly Cicero, the southwest side of Chicago, Elgin, Addison, and West Chicago. Just yesterday at 7:30 in the morning, a neighbor was detained by ICE outside of McNeil Hospital on 34th and Euclid. The Berwyn Cicero Rapid Response Team was able to verify this incident. Women with children who have suddenly become single moms, navigating their grief, their children's grief, and our complex immigration system while trying to keep their families afloat. I spoke to one such mom today. Armed, masked strangers in unmarked cars continue terrorizing our communities and kidnapping our neighbors, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. So this resolution that Alderman Micah Caldwell is proposing tonight, calling on the federal government to prohibit agents from concealing their identity, is one important step in making our town a truly welcoming city. I'd like to also thank the Elgin City Council for proposing such a resolution, which they received unanimous support for. I hope that Berwyn City Council also shows their unequivocal support and continues passing legislation to protect constituents in this dark period in our history. I'd also like to thank the Berwyn Township and the City of Berwyn for increasing their Know Your Rights outreach this month. That's a good step forward, and I do want to stress, though, that much more outreach needs to be done. When people are this scared, you need to go to them, and you need to do it multiple times. You need consistent weekly pop-ups across local hotspots, door knocking, investing in outreach staff, just like you all did during your successful census campaign. During your census campaign, Mayor Lavero, you wrote a letter to council in October of 2021 stating that that campaign was successful based on partnering with over, and I quote, over 140 community leaders, nonprofit groups, businesses, and city leaders. There is so much more you all can be doing right now in that regard, and I know you know how to do it, so I hope that you do take those actions to do a serious KYR campaign here. It's also important not just to do the KYR of people's rights, but also to inform constituents of what an emergency plan looks like, just in case their loved one gets detained. So they have all their information, they have a child custody, temporary custody form, they have all their bank's information, housing information, etc. that's a key piece that has unfortunately been missing in a lot of detentions of folks. I echo what the residents said earlier about the flock system. You know, Evanston and Oak Park already pulled out of it, so it would be great to see Berwyn follow that lead. And the last thing I'd like to do is, you know, we're talking about a lot of paperwork right now, right? And so the last thing I'd like to do is invite you all to be uncomfortable and put your words in action. I invite you to follow the lead of other city officials like Evanston Mayor Daniel Biss and Illinois State Senator Corina Villa, and get out from behind your desks and put your bodies on the line to protect constituents. I invite you to protest the inhumane conditions at Broadview Detention Center and demand that it be shut down. No one should be packed in a small facility without beds, food, water, and without medicine. I invite you to confront and document ICE when you see them kidnapping your constituents. You know, our whole state is on fire right now. Our next door neighbor, Cicero, is in extreme fire. And while we might not be in those exact conditions right now, this is definitely the moment, 8 months in, to get moving on preparing our town in the event that more ICE arrests happen here in Berwyn. So I'm asking you to please put down your cup of water and get the fire trucks rolling. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience? So just to let you all know that I will be in Washington, D.C. in about another week and a half, and should that resolution pass, I will be happy to give it to our federal legislators to make sure they have it in their hands and express it to them. In addition, with respect to the flock camera, I know Alderman Pabon and Commander Fellows have been deeply engaged in revealing what's in our contract and everything, so we should have something on that once they've put their heads together to determine. As it stands right now, we do not reveal anything from the flock camera. It's checked in the contract that we will not give anything to any other authority other than with respect to what's happening in Berwyn. So, but Commander Fellows and Alderman Pabon are reviewing that all now. Any Alderman have anything for open forum? Alderman Leisure?
Thank you. This past Sunday, September 21, was our community came together for one of the most magical and best attended outreach events we have ever hosted in Berwyn, the 16th annual Fairy Tale Ball at Proxa Park. I want to begin by thanking the leadership and staff of the Berwyn Public Library and the Berwyn Park District. Their dedication and hard work made this special afternoon possible. Over 1,000 residents from Berwyn explored enchanted woods, enjoyed live performances, met beloved characters like the King and Queen, and a book giveaway. This event truly showcases the power of collaboration and community spirit. Families of all backgrounds came together to celebrate literacy, creativity, and imagination in an open and welcoming space. I would like to take a moment to recognize our incredible partners and supporters, co-host, Berwyn Park District, and sponsors, so please keep in mind the budgeted sponsorships are secured a previous year. So this year we have former Second Ward Alderman Jim Moywood, former First Ward Alderman Scott Lennon, Berwyn Park District, Berwyn Women's Club, Clearview Plumbing and Sewer, Friends of the Berwyn Public Library, Greg Hanna's Plumbing, Jeanette and Derek Hess, Mayor Livero, Michael Anthony's, Nona and Michael Chapman, State Senator Michael Porfirio. And I'm very proud to continue to support this community event each year and pledge to continue to do so. This year's Fairy Tale Ball was not only a success, it stands as the best attended outreach event in Berwyn to date, with more than 1,000 residents participating. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other aldermen have something for open forum? Okay, hearing none. Item C1, please.
Item C1 is approval of minutes for Committee of the Whole and the regular City Council meeting minutes for September 9th, 2025.
Need my motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 9th in committee of whole as presented.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Caldwell to approve the committee of the whole and regular council minutes of September 9, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item E1, please.
Item E1 is a communication from Berwyn Township and Health District, Supervisor Avila, Assessor Pareda, and Clerk Garcia for a Know Your Rights workshops, initiatives, and resources, informational.
Motion.
It'd be my motion to accept this communication from the Berwyn Township Health District, Supervisor Avila, Assessor Pareda, Clerk Garcia, for their Know Your Rights workshops as informational.
Second.
Motion by Pabon, seconded by Palachik to consider the communication from the township officials with their Know Your Rights workshop as informational. The date for that workshop is, well, she's got different agencies here, so.
There's different agencies, so
Yeah,
the dates of
different
services
agencies that
are
they can,
different.
QR code and find out the dates when they can go there.
And
All
we're
those in
also,
favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Item F1, please.
Item F1 is an ordinance amending Chapter 804, Section 804.03, amending alcohol liquor license applications, amending Chapter 804, Section 804.18, view of premises of the codified ordinances of the City of Berwyn, Cook County, Illinois.
I move that we concur with Mayor Rivera's request to approve this amended ordinance, Chapter 804, Section 804.03, liquor license applications, amending Chapter 804, Section 804.18, view of the premises of the codified ordinances of the City of Berwyn, direct the corporate authorities to affix the necessary signatures, and place it on its way to passage.
Second.
Motion by Leisure, seconded by Palachik, to concur with the adoption of the amendment ordinance for a couple sections in Chapter 804, fix the necessary signatures, and place it on its way to passage. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item F2, please.
Item F2 is a communication from the Office of the Mayor, Communications Department, Know Your Rights Citywide Campaign Overview, information.
Would be my motion to accept this communication about Know Your Rights from the Communications Department as informational.
Second.
Motion by Carmichael, seconded by Pabon, to accept the communication of Know Your Rights campaign through the Communications Department as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item G1, please.
Item G1 is a communication from the Clerk's Department with handicap parking sign determinations for 1929 Scoville Avenue, approved. 3736 Highland Avenue, approved. And 3834 Home Avenue, approved.
I move to accept the clerk's recommendation to approve the handicap parking sign determinations for 1929 Scoville Avenue, 3736 Highland Avenue, and 3834 Home Avenue.
Second.
Motion by Bowman, seconded by Fate, to concur with the clerk's determination of approval for the handicap signs at 1929 Scoville, 3736 Highland, 3834 Home. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item G2, please.
Item G2 is a communication from the Clerk's Department with handicap parking sign determinations for 2808 Highland Avenue, denied, and 6516 33rd Street, denied.
I move to accept the clerk's recommendation to deny the handicap parking sign determinations for 2808 Highland Avenue and 6516 33rd Street.
Second.
Motion by Bowman, seconded by Pabon, to accept the clerk's recommendation to deny the handicap request at 2808 Highland and 6516 33rd Street. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I1, please.
Item I-1 is a resolution from Alderman Caldwell that reads as follows. A resolution of the City of Berwyn urging federal leaders to prohibit law enforcement officers from concealing their identities and to require visible identification during immigration enforcement operations.
I move to adopt the resolution of the City of Berwyn urging federal leaders to prohibit law enforcement officers from concealing their identities and to require visible identification during immigration enforcement operations, direct the corporate authorities to affix the necessary signatures and place it on its way to passage.
Second.
Motion by Caldwell, seconded by Pabon, to adopt the resolution urging our federal leaders to prohibit law enforcement officers from concealing their identities, require visible identification during the immigration enforcement operations, affix the necessary signatures, and place on its way to passage. All those in favor, call the roll.
Caldwell?
Just before I vote in favor, I just want to share a personal note. Prior to serving on council, I spent several years working as a therapist with children who'd traveled alone to the United States from Central America and Mexico. These were kids who I was meeting in the first few hours that they entered the U.S., and they were seeking safety. They were fleeing gang violence, discrimination, and intimidation in order to find a safe place to grow up. And those early conversations really stuck with me and inspire me to make this action. I saw how much courage it takes for a child to leave their home in order to go somewhere new, and hope that with that comes the promise of safety and fairness. So for me, this resolution is about honoring that trust, and it says that when government exercises its power, especially the power to detain, it must do so openly and with accountability. And so with that, I vote aye. Bowman?
Aye.
Leisha?
Aye.
Faith?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Palachuk?
Aye.
Ruckman?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes.
Motion carried, and if I could ask the clerk to give me an official signed copy once it's all done, so I could bring it to Washington with me to present to our federal legislators. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Item J1, please.
Item J1 is a communication from Police Chief Samaglia requesting authorization for the procession of the Morton East High School Homecoming Parade on October 25th, 2025, commencing at approximately 10 a.m.
I move that we concur with Police Chief Samaglia's authorization for the procession of the Morton East High School Homecoming Parade, October 25, 2025, commencing approximately at 10 a.m.
Second.
Motion by Leisure, seconded by Pabon, to concur with Chief Smaglia approval of the Morton High School. It's all one high school now. There's no east and west. Morton High School Homecoming Parade on October 25th, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J2, please.
Item J2 is a resolution from Senior Engineer Campbell authorizing the mayor to sign a local public agency funding agreement for federal participation with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the 34th Street streetscape improvements.
Mr. Mayor, it's my motion to accept Senior Engineer Campbell's resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the local public agency funding agreement for the federal participation with the Illinois Department of Transportation and the 34th Street landscape improvements.
Second.
Motion by Palachuk, seconded by Pabon, to concur with Engineer Campbell and direct the mayor to sign the resolution for the federal participation with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the 34th Street streetscape. All those in favor, and call the roll.
Aye.
Bowman.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Faith.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Palachuk.
Aye.
Ruckman.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Motion carried. Item J3, please.
Item J3 is a communication from Building Director Lazara requesting authorization to enter into a professional services agreement with Awesome Pest Services for comprehensive pest control and mitigation within the city of Berwyn.
Director Lazar's in the back. Is that who you're looking for?
All right, I didn't know.
Chuck, did you have anything you want to say about this?
One of the things, I actually had a question for you real quick, so my apologies, I didn't know if you were here. I know with the bidding process,
You know, based on the services that Awesome provides for us, it is what you call a hybrid program. And based on what he does for us, we had conversations with the three companies I listed on the letter to Alderman and Council. We had conversations with those companies, and we discussed what Awesome provided for us, and none of them could provide the same service that Awesome could.
okay.
None of them were able to undertake that, and they didn't know how they'd be able to do it.
In addition, then Alderman Lennon and I had gone to Cicero to see how they're doing it. They have their own in-house. That would have cost us quite a bit more dollars than what we're spending here.
Okay.
And we presented that to the building department also at that time.
I mean, if we were to undertake our own program, I mean, Cicero, it took them $300,000 just to start their own program. And then to keep that going, we have to provide salaries and equipment and materials for that program. So based on what Joe provides for us, what Awesome provides for us, he does respond immediately to every call when we call him. He is very responsive. I feel as well as I think the mayor feels that the extra money will absolutely help. He can put another person on the street. A lot of the baits that we're going to start using are more expensive now. There's birth control we're going to be using and growth regulators that we're going to be using. And those types of things are more expensive than currently what's being used. So, in my opinion, as long as I've been here, Joe's done a fine job for us, and he's very responsive.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion then?
I have one quick question, sorry.
Yes, sir.
What's the duration of the agreement?
1 year.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this was actually put forward 2 years ago. That's when we started examining other places and couldn't find anyone to compete. So that's why it's finally making its way to council now. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, it'll be my motion to accept the building director Lazar's requesting for authorization to enter into a professional service agreement with Awesome Pest.
Second.
Motion by Palachik, seconded by Bruckman, to approve the contract with Awesome Pest at the amount of $72,000 a year, affix the necessary signature, and place it on its way to passage. All those in favor, on the call of the roll.
Caldwell,
Aye.
Bowman,
Before I place my vote, just a quick mention about, I've had great experience with Joe from Awesome Pest Control. He has been very responsive. That being said, I think the city of Berwyn needs to do more. My most common complaint is rodent sightings, and based on this particular agreement, my vote is no. Thank you.
Leisure,
Aye.
Fate,
Aye.
Pabon,
Aye.
Palachuk,
Aye.
Bruckman,
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
7 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J4, please.
Item J4 is a communication from City Comptroller Daesh, 2024 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report.
Be my motion to concur with City Controller Daesh and consider this financial report informational.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Leisure, to consider the financial report heard at the committee of the whole earlier tonight as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The consent agenda.
Be my motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Palachik, to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Alderman at committee meetings, Alderman Bowman. I'm sorry, Caldwell. I looked at you and called you Bowman. Alderman Caldwell?
Yeah, I'm going to be having my next ward meeting coming up Sunday, October 19th at 1 p.m. That will be at the Pershing School Gymnasium, and hope folks can join. Call the chair.
Alderman Bowman, your turn.
Call the chair.
Alderman Leisure.
I am having my annual Third Ward Family Picnic at Sunshine Park on October 4. We're asking, all Third Ward residents are welcome. We're asking for registration just so we have a count. Thank you, and call of the chair.
Alderman Fate,
Call it, Chair.
Alderman Cabot,
Call the chair.
Alderman Kvacek. Call the chair. Alderman Bruckner,
Call the chair.
Alderman Carmichael.
Call the chair, motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Carmichael, seconded by Plotchik. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.